So that summer, Cordelia started sending anonymous letters to Elizabeth, pretending to be a friend, giving insider information about her husband's affair. The letters warned Elizabeth not to get back together with John, but they were also full of taunting messages. Obviously, Elizabeth had no idea who these letters were from. She had friends in San Francisco, but none who would taunt her about her husband's affair. Despite the strange letters, Elizabeth did her best to try to keep things normal for herself and her daughter, which brings us to August 9th, 1898. That evening, Elizabeth sat down for a normal family dinner at her parents' house in Delaware. Now, after dinner, Elizabeth's nephew Harry went out to check the mail and he came back with a package addressed to Elizabeth. The package had been sent anonymously from San Francisco, and inside was a very expensive looking box of chocolates, a handkerchief, and a note that said, "With love to yourself and baby, signed Mrs. C." Elizabeth had a friend in San Francisco named Mrs. Corbally, so she figured the chocolates must have come from her. And since Elizabeth was known to have a sweet tooth, of course she decided to try a few. But she also wanted to share what she thought was a very kind and thoughtful gift. So she passed the box around, offering chocolates to her daughter, her sister Ida, Ida's daughter, and her nephew Harry, as well as two neighbors who happened to be walking by as the family was just sitting out on the front porch. Within just a few hours, everyone who had eaten the chocolate started getting incredibly sick. They were hit with intense stomach pain and nonstop vomiting. Most of them eventually began to recover, but Elizabeth and her sister Ida did not. A doctor was called, and at first he assumed it was some kind of food poisoning and tried to treat it that way, but their condition unfortunately kept getting worse, and on August 11th, just 2 days later, Ida passed away, and the very next day, on August 12th, Elizabeth unfortunately passed away as well. Their father hadn't eaten any of the chocolates that night, so he was one of the only ones who didn't get sick, and because of that, he started thinking back to the package they came in, and something about it didn't sit right with him. He happened to notice that the writing on the note that came with the chocolates looked eerily similar to the handwriting on those strange anonymous letters Elizabeth had gotten in the weeks before. It hadn't clicked at the time, but now he was suspicious. What if those chocolates had been poisoned? So he turned over the remaining chocolates to the family doctor, who sent them to be tested, and the results indicated that several of the chocolates had been tampered with and laced with enough arsenic to kill multiple people. The reason Elizabeth and Ida were the only ones who died is because not all of the chocolates had been poisoned. When the candies were examined more closely, investigators noticed that some of them appeared to be homemade. They had this slight pink tint to the cream, which was completely different from the professional chocolates that made up the rest of the box. It looked like someone had removed a few of the original candies and replaced them with the poisoned ones. The rest of the chocolates probably only had trace contamination from being in contact with the poisoned pieces, which is likely why no one else died. When John Dunning was notified of Elizabeth's death, he immediately returned to Delaware, and Elizabeth's father asked if he recognized the handwriting on the note that came with the chocolates or even the anonymous letters Elizabeth had been receiving. And right away, John knew. He had exchanged plenty of letters with Cordelia during their relationship, and he recognized the handwriting instantly. He was certain that it was hers.